monitoring the state of affairs in major towns across the country. This all to do with the anti-tax protests that have rocked the country with the Gen Z at the forefront. This bearing in mind that just this week on Tuesday, we saw goons take over the protest, and we just want to give you a true state of affairs on the ground, and we'll be crossing over to our reporters in just but a few to get the feel and the gist of the protests, if there are any so far. The state of security across various central business districts in major towns, and equally if it's business as usual. Remember, on Tuesday we saw a couple of businesses affected due to the protests. Some had closed, some were vandalized due to the goons who had infiltrated the protesters. So we're set to give you updates in this particular bulletin. Welcome to News Center. Let's begin with Nairobi's Central Business District, where our reporter Fred Kagonye is on standby to give us the very latest on how it looks at on the ground. Fred Kagonye, good morning. What's the situation in Nairobi CBD? Perhaps you can break to us in terms of the security situation, police presence. Is it heightened? And have we seen any crowds gathering in anticipation of the protests that are set to be held today?
Mombasa Street, and the situation here is calm. We've seen police officers doing patrols in different areas. As you can see behind me, there's a police truck. This street on my left, which is Tomboya, was a battleground on Tuesday, the day before yesterday, and whatever was happening there was a group of protesters was from the other side, and then police officers were on this side, and they were playing a game of cat and mouse. They would pelt the officers with the stones, and then the officers would respond with tear gas canisters, and then they would take a break, and then they would resume whatever they were doing. So that is what was happening on Tuesday. Today, the story is quite different. We didn't have matatus on that day, but today the street is busy in as much as the way we are used to seeing Tomboya, Accra Road, Ludhuli Avenues, and the Moi Avenues that make up the CBD being busy. Today it's quite different. The numbers are there, yes, but not to the magnitude that we are used to. So you can see border operators have made their way to the CBD, perhaps in the hope of getting customers to take them from one destination to the other. Businesses have opened, like on Tuesday, where we were met by closed doors because the businessmen and women who apply their trades here in the CBD, they closed their shops in fear that they might be robbed by the goons who have infiltrated the protests that began as a movement on social media, and then they hit the streets led by the Generation Z. But today we are telling a different story. Today we've not seen any crowds that have gathered here, and then businessmen and women, on Tuesday we saw them taking batons to protect their businesses in some areas like Ludhuli Avenue and then along Imenti House. And today we've not seen that yet, but to also be remembered that on Tuesday, a time like this, everything was calm here in the CBD. But then things changed as the clock ran towards 11 and then 12. That's when the real action began. So the matatus were doing their business as usual, but then things changed between 11 all the way towards 12 and 1. But today we can see that the story is quite different. At least the numbers that we saw on Tuesday today have more than doubled, in as much as we've not gone back to normalcy, the normalcy that we are used to in Nairobi CBD. Jesse.
We'll definitely cross over back to you live for more updates in the course of this bulletin, just to keep our viewers updated on the true state of affairs in Nairobi's Central Business District. But as Kagonye put it, it's business as usual as of now, rather, in terms of